I had weird computer issues earlier.
I've just gone on you. Yeah, it's on.
It's on.
I can see it. Yeah.
All right then. I'll give up on my computer. We're here. Fantastic. Hey, Ian, what we've been doing for the last it's been a good few weeks now. Alan's been contacting different people that are involved in the Jurgs Cup, asking them to come on, not just to talk about what they've been doing with the Jurgs Cup, but sort of a bit of maybe some other guitar builds they've done, a bit of history behind it. Cool. What I find interesting is finding out where everyone is, and because we have people watching from all around the world, sometimes we say where we are and people don't know what it's like. So, where are you, E?
I'm in Wellenhall, which is in the Black Country in the Midlands. So yeah, I'm just outside of Wolverhampton.
So for people that don't really know what that means, what's that area like? Picture it. If we want to picture it in our mind's eye, are we looking at villages?
No, well, it's a combination of villages, cities, small towns. There's some rural and urban areas. We've got quite a select area. We're not far from probably 40 minutes from Birmingham, 45 minutes from Shrewsbury. If it's not a huge journey to get out of a built up area into a lovely rural area.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
And that's obviously where you live. Is that where you're based for your guitar building as well?
I build in my back garden. So
I build in my back garden.
Yeah. So and quite literally whenever the weather allows in the garden rather than actually in summer house or garage, because I just like being outside. It's more fun. And I find it, there's man glitter everywhere when you're inside in routing, so it's easier just to send it into the garden.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So what's it like at the moment? We've been talking a bit about how weather affects how we build, and like the temperature maybe making it, for me at the moment, the heat makes it a bit hard to spray certain things. Are you able to be building in this heat?
I have been up until the last couple of days, which has just been too hot to want to actually be outside, and with work as well. By the time you've actually finished and got home, you don't really fancy doing an awful lot. So
I feel like this is a bit of a cliche. 3 guys in Britain talking about the weather. I apologise. I'll stop that now. So, Oakley Custom Guitars. How long have you been building guitars for?
I started building guitars when I was 19, 20. So 27, 28 years ago, I built my first one. And I designed it before I left school. And I wanted to build it as part of your DT, your design technology course. And the teacher's like, no, you'll never do that. You'll never be able to do that. So I designed it all, and then it had to go on hold because I couldn't actually build it. I didn't have the know-how or the facilities. And then, do you guys know the Melvin Hiscock's How to Build Your Own Electric Guitar book?
I don't have it handy, but it's in my office.
Yeah. Well, I've had 3 copies of that over the time. It's a fantastic book, and that's essentially how I designed and made my first guitar, which is that one.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it was
just to interrupt and double check.
Yeah.
I can see in the background definitely your image is mirrored. For a minute I was about to ask, are you left-handed? But
no. Hang on. Can I change that? How do I change that?
You can. I mean, you can change it. I don't know if it's worth it. Mine's mirrored. No. Is it mirrored? Yeah.
I don't know how I alter that. I'll leave it. It's likely to fail again if we mess with technology. But no, I'm not left-handed. It is. But the guitar itself has been my main gigging guitar now for 28 years.
That's amazing. So wait a minute. So let's forget building guitars at the moment. So do you gig a lot? Do you play a lot?
I did up until COVID, and then after COVID, I've played regularly in all sorts of function bands and house bands for blues jams and stuff like that. So yeah, I've pretty much played since I was 14. I started gigging when I was 14, and that was why I wanted my own guitar. I wanted my own guitar rather than playing somebody else's guitars.
So I think I must be, from the way you described how many years ago it was you were at school, the same age as you.
I'm 47.
Yeah, so I'm 48 very soon.
Yeah, snap.
And I did DT at school. Amazing. But I played guitar from the age of 11. But I never had this foresight of building my own guitar. It wasn't for many years that I thought that was a thing you could do. I just assumed that was done in a factory or something like that.
My dad was an engineer, my mum was a teacher, and my mum's the musical influence. And myself and my brother's a bass player. We both had lessons from age 11, respectively. And when I played guitar, I was always watching people that had, Les Pauls and these signature models. I always wanted a Washburn N4 and a Steve Lucas signature model, an EVH1, Mark Knopfler's Penseur, and of course they were what, £3,000. They were, my first guitar was absolutely fantastic. It was a wonderful Tokai, but you saw all these guys with their own guitars, and I was like, you can do that. That's something that you can make, and nobody ever said no. Nobody ever told me, apart from my DT teacher.
What did he know? That's
well, exactly.
Yeah, that's amazing. I feel like the world's so different now. Like I'm not sure how my experience of playing guitar would be different if I had the internet and not tab books and trying to learn by ear. And then I'm not sure how my world would have been different, because I love making, but having access to people on YouTube or social media talking about how to build makes it so much more accessible than it seemed to be in the past. So it's amazing hearing that you didn't have this barrier. It was there for you. It just didn't
even occur to me that you couldn't.
Yeah.
It genuinely didn't. So with this, like I say, I wanted a Steve Lukather, the Luke 1, which this has got a stop tail piece and 24 frets and all of that kind of stuff going on. And he's had a Floyd Rose. I had no idea what a Floyd Rose was back then. It was something that was out of my realm. But as far as this has actually got a 25-inch scale length, which at the time the only real company that did that was PRS. So nobody did jigs, templates. I have no idea that those things existed. You just worked it out, and in the Melvin Hiscock's book, he actually gave you the formula to work out the fret spacings. Yeah. So I worked it out for the 25-inch scale length, and then had to use calipers and the smallest gauge I could find to get right the way down to 24 frets, which is minute, but it stays in tune and it gets the intonation. Intonation's right. So
I mean, that's a perfect sign that there's no reason your first build can't be fantastic.
Well, that's very kind. It's certainly, like I say, this has certainly been through the ringer as a first build. The headstock scarf joint has actually been repaired, and so is the fingerboard, because it went down the staircase and landed on the headstock. So it snapped the headstock off and popped the fretboard. So that had to be repaired.
Amazing that I mean, that's only repaired because of a proper accident.
Yeah,
there was worn over time or anything. Yeah,
steaming the neck off was an absolute nightmare because I'd put it on to stay on. The fingerboard had to be well and truly steamed for ages to get that off, and then Yeah, it was fun. But all of these, and I've been watching your other videos, and there's some fantastic interviews with people. You were talking to people and saying there's a difference between a luthier and a tech. The people that actually do tech work and
Yeah.
guitars go in, do the tweaks, all that kind of stuff can be slightly different. That was part of being a guitarist. If you can't afford a 60 quid setup, you learn how to do it. So there was a little bit of that going on at the same time as learning to build them. Was how do you fix it and keep it going when it falls down the stairs?
Yeah, no, it's interesting because I can't remember if I've said this before. I must have said this before, but I must have been in my early 20s and I was recording with a band, and the bass I had a problem with it that the engineer picked up, that basically I was going out of tune as I went higher up the neck.
Yeah.
And he just said, your bass is broken. No one said the intonation was off.
No.
So I didn't really understand that. And like I often say, there's no reason guitarists have to know these things.
No.
But if they do know it, it makes such a difference. And so I had to buy a new bass at the time.
Ooh.
And I still got that old bass. I fixed it. It's fine. So that was well, it wasn't a waste of money because I bought my dream bass, so that was okay. But still,
that's not a waste of money, is it? That's another excuse to have another great bass.
Yeah, exactly. So what's happened in your journey since building that first guitar? Do you tend to build one-offs? Are you building things that are replicas of other guitars, or do you have your own designs that you make multiples of? All of the above.
All of the above. To start with, I thought that everybody had to make something that had already been, well, apart from the fact that I knew what I wanted with the first one. I knew the shape I wanted. I didn't want it to be a Strat. I didn't want it to be a Les Paul. I wanted something that I would want to play, and I have done ever since, apart from pickup changes, which are, guitarists are nightmares, aren't we? We like, there's a new pickup out, we'll put one of those in, and you end up with a bag full of pickups that keep getting rotated. But apart from that, it's literally stayed as is since it was built. But other guitars, I said earlier that I Nuno, when I was 11 to 15, Nuno Betancourt out of Extreme was my absolute hero. So I made a guitar with a Stevens extended cutaway, having only actually seen one in I think it was Musical Exchanges in Birmingham, and I went there with my brother, and it was either Exchanges or PMT. I think it was Exchanges, and went there. They got this guitar on the wall, and they're a tiny guitar. He had the body made smaller than a Strat, so when you actually pick one up, they feel really, really small. But it wasn't so much the guitar as it was the neck joint. So that Stevens extended cutaway, and I was like, I'm sure I can make one of those. Again, no idea about templates, no real idea about. There wasn't really YouTube. There wasn't any anything that was easily accessible apart from if you saw one, you reverse engineer it. Yeah. So literally take what you see and as many not necessarily subtle measurements while you're in the shop.
Yeah, I saw someone on a forum or a Facebook page the other day saying that they used to get their measurements for the guitars by going to a local music shop with a ruler.
Yeah, and then that's exactly what I did. So there's my brother. My brother's standing next to me. He's bigger than I am. So he's like, stand there, and we'll just hide it and try pretend that we're not taking measurements and drawing little sketches.
Yeah, amazing.
But that was one of my big things. Was can I do that as a piece of engineering as much as a guitar thing, because I did make a second one with, again, another Stevens extended cutaway.
Oh yeah, now look, I've just got a picture up of that on the screen. So let me hold on a minute. No, I haven't. I've got a picture of a different one. Let me share some images of yours on the screen and you can talk about them. I just say, while you were talking about, obviously we'll get onto the Jurgs Cup a bit later, but that's all about guitar heroes. So does that mean, who were your other heroes when you were younger? And I'm assuming, as with most people, your guitar heroes you have when you were young are the ones that stay in your life.
Pretty much. Nuno, Steve Lukather, because Steve Lukather was over every track that I wanted to listen to during the 80s and 90s as a session player. Let me think. Mark Knopfler, Andy Summers, Larry Carlton. Because my guitar teacher was a jazz musician, so I got introduced to loads of different players, and not only, because to be fair, somebody like Larry Carlton, of course, influenced Steve Lukather. Steve Lukather has played on so many sessions, all the LA sessions. You've got him all over Michael Jackson tracks. You've got him on Lionel Richie, and he's absolutely everywhere, isn't he? So. And, Larry Carlton was with Steely Dan, and, there was so many brilliant players. And I just heard all this music and went, who's that? So my guitar teacher was like, it's this guitarist. And then you go down the rabbit hole and you end up with every album that you can find that they're on. So my heroes are, but then again, before I really played, my heroes were Mark Knopfler from Dire Straits, Eric Clapton, Andy Summers, because I love The Police. So there were a number of different players, and all of them have influenced everything about my playing and the guitars I like. The one guitar I can't play for toffee at all, and I've tried, is a Les Paul. I cannot find a comfortable Les Paul.
I mean, I am not a Les Paul fan, and I think it's basic because the experience I had of Les Paul was my friend had maybe it was an Epiphone to start with, and then he got in a Gibson, and they were just uncomfortably heavy. I just didn't like the contours on them. It just didn't feel like right for me. But maybe I haven't played the right ones. Who knows?
Well, I have two friends, and to be fair, they both have older Les Pauls, and they are absolutely stunning, and the necks on them are blinding. They're just absolutely fantastic to play. But again, as soon as I stand up with a Les Paul, I just feel like I'm fighting it. It just doesn't hang right, and like I say, the necks are amazing. You can bend such huge bends because of the flat fingerboard radius, but I just don't like the feel of them.
Hey, so why don't I share now a few images of yours from Instagram, and you can tell us what it is about guitar design that you like, that you brought into these ones. Although when I show one up, the first one, I think everyone's going to see that it's quite unique. And apologies, I don't know if the ones I'm showing are in any particular order, like if they're early builds or whatever.
So that one is actually the one I just showed. But what happened was that guitar was originally built as a prototype for everything. So any single idea I had has been on that guitar.
Right, that's why I thought it was the same, but it looked different because the one you just held up didn't have the scratch plate on it.
Yeah. So originally, when that guitar was first built, it had a stop tailpiece, 2 pickups like a Telecaster, 3-way switch, and the Stevens extended cutaway. And then I went, how do you put that PRS style lower kind of access cutaway to get up to the top frets? So that kind of accentuated contour in the lower cutaway. So I was like, I'll do that. So did that, and then got the chisel out and the file out and put the weird shark fin style all around the bottom of the body, which was simply just been a bit different. And then
is that something you've done again since?
No, it was all just, can I?
Yeah, I love the look of it. I love it.
But if you have a look at the jack socket, it's actually carved into the body. It's not. It's kind of.
Hold on a moment.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can do.
So it's carved into the body. So when you wear the where is it? If you've got the, there you go. And if you're like me, you always wrap it through the strap because otherwise I'll tread on it.
Yeah.
So it literally guides it straight up through the strap.
I'm doing a quick back and forth looking.
Yeah.
I see you've also changed your pickups on it.
Oh yeah. Well, the reason that had a scratch plate on was, of course, it had Telecaster style pickups, then it had humbuckers, then it had the third pickup, and it just ended up being so mashed up underneath where the pickups were. I put a scratch plate on to hide all the holes.
Right.
And then probably about two or 3 years ago, I just decided to go and actually just inlay a brand new front.
Yeah.
And put a brand new block in the center. So just to make it what I wanted, I was like, oh, I want no scratch plate.
So, I mean, a couple of things that I'm finding fascinating about that is the fact that you're revisiting a guitar. I know you said using it as a test for things.
Yeah.
But just revisiting a guitar in that way is brilliant, I think. I don't remember speaking to many people that do that.
So
how
many more years of changing the pickups will it be when it's got another scratch plate on it?
I genuinely, I think I've settled now. I think I've settled on that. It's a combination of the bridge pickup is after, like I say, after about 3 or 4, it's that, and I actually ended up deciding that I like a single coil in the neck. That's just going to end up staying because that's where you spend an awful lot of your time when you're a rhythm. When you're in a band, you spend a lot of time on those 2 pickups in position 4 and 5. So it tends to go there, and then drop it into the bridge pickup when I'm taking a high gain solo, so it doesn't squeal like crazy off the single coils. But yeah, I think I'm going to keep it now. It is 20 odd years since it was originally made in its first incarnation. So
that's amazing. And what I can see in the photo is the fretboard with the markers.
Yeah, so that was another. Just it's not. They're not in a particular location. I literally started at the 12th fret, put the 2 dots in, and then went, how about something like a double helix? And I just kind of put the twist in and made it a bit different.
And I think I saw when you were holding it up then, and what I remember on another post of yours on Instagram is it's since been signed.
Yeah, and still gets played, which is why the signatures are getting battered. So it was signed by Extreme. So there's Nuno's. So it has been signed by my hero, along with the rest of the guys. So Kevin and Pat and Gary. So yeah, I managed to get that done I think it was last year when they played in Birmingham.
Sweet. That's so
and
cool.
that was stalking the stage door.
I love it. Hey, all right. We can talk more about that one, but let's see some other guitars. So that one, did you just? Sorry, did I miss it? It's been about 20 years of changes on that.
I think since I first, because that one was kind of, I built that one and the one in Ash at about the same time, but the one that I experimented with took a lot longer to do because, of course, it was all, what can we do? What can I do with it? What can I do that's different? The routing was all done. The extended cutaways were done. The fingerboard with the inlays, and even if you have a look at the top of the fingerboard, at the 23rd and 24th frets, there's a little maple inlay that kind of continues to make it look like it goes into the neck joint. all those little tweaks just took. And I'd already got guitars that I was using, so it wasn't for anything particular.
And Neil's just asked a question about the Floyd, isn't it?
It's Floyd in this one is actually the Wilkinson M series. In this one, the original one was a Japanese cheap one. So this got a Wilkinson, because to be fair, I do like Wilkinson hardware. The bridges are solid, and the machine heads are really good. So that one, I had an issue with the knife edge on the original one, because this has little like moon-shaped carves that hold it in place, whereas the other one I had was just two straight edges, and to be fair, it got fairly beaten up. So yeah, it just got modified and as it needed to be when it was worn out, because all of these guitars get used and abused on stage, and that's the point of having a guitar to me. They're all well and good as something else, but
yeah. So does that mean? So that's another question. Do you mainly build your guitars for yourself, or have you built up?
Yeah, that Telecaster was actually going to be for my mate, and I had an issue with the neck. It twisted, and the neck joint was all went really odd. The timber twisted, which is a real shame, because it had a Zebrano neck on it, which looked fantastic, but it twisted. So the one of the three that I'm currently building is actually for him. So I suppose technically it is, I've known him since we were like 15, 16, and he's always been, one of your, my guitar contemporaries and heroes, because he's a hell of a player. He's out tonight gigging. I was hoping he might be here to demo something.
Oh, and talking about which, we didn't have time to check before, but if you're up for playing a bit, we'll do that in a minute. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, we'll have a look, see if we can get a signal. If we can get a signal, we'll yeah.
So tell us. Wait a minute. Let me just have a look. There's two more. So I'm just gonna shrink my screen back. There's two more guitars that were lined up next.
Yes.
That have this same this thing. Is this? Would you say it's maybe a signature to have by the upper horn the way this? Like
Well, that was the N4 thing. That was the Washburn N4 thing, and like I say, that guitar there was the one that now has a scratch plate on, and I wanted a Washburn N4, so that was as close as I could build without any templates, without any reference directly to a Washburn. I went, I can make one, so I did as close as I could. It's got the Bill Lawrence pickup and a Seymour Duncan 59 in the neck, and that was as close as I could get it from just photographs and doing whatever I could do.
For anyone that's watching now, this is on Instagram. There's also he's got some images up on the Jurgs Cup page. I will link it in the description for the video. I can't update that until we finish the live stream, unfortunately.
That's cool.
That will be there afterwards.
Thank you.
So did you want to? You were just holding something up.
So that Telecaster that didn't really work. I'm not a big fan of copying other designs. There are so many guitarists out there, guitar makers, guitar companies, that make fantastic T-style guitars and S-type guitars and Les Paul copies and things. I just wanted something that was different, and when that one didn't work, he still wanted a single cut style, Telly-esque guitar, because he plays in a country band. Fantastic, like I say, fantastic player. But I made my own single cut style body, slightly offset, still going to have telly-esque setup, but it's actually going to have a Bigsby on it. So, yeah. And when we were talking about it, I thought to make it not telly-esque, let's do some contouring, and we came up with that, which I think is going to be a fantastic kind of looking body contour. We've still got, we've got quite a lot of, we've got a good, half inch of body contouring we can get away with on that. And again, it's actually going to be 24 frets, simply because the design that I did originally, I've kind of kept all of the off the center line, I've kept all the designs the same, so you can get up to 24 without any you've got no kind of fouling of the hand through the neck joint. So you've got probably Ernie Ball-esque kind of neck joint. So yeah, it's usually I'll find a way to find something different to do with it.
I've just put up your like a little video you've got on Instagram, or some images of your Jurgs Cup 4 build, and because it seems to be the similar way you've marked it out. And then have you gone ahead? Are you using a router to start?
I remember Alan, didn't you say that you'd redone the front on your guitar 3 times or something?
Yeah, the one with the sort of shark shape.
Yeah,
that's gone through the planer 3 times. Yeah,
right. So what you've seen in that picture there is that guitar having this is at least the 2nd or 3rd iteration where I've run this through the planer,
right?
Because I didn't like the way that the route was working on that. I want it to be smooth, and I want it to look really really tactile. I want it to be a tactile instrument, and I think that's the thing with a guitar. When you play and hold a guitar, it should be so comfortable. So if the one that's in the picture at the moment is actually an exact opposite of this. So the woods, this one's Padauk with maple. So this one is going to be Padauk with maple, Padauk strip through it, maple strip through it.
Yeah.
Headstock's opposite.
Yeah, right.
Then it's kind of the twin is the exact opposite. So we've got I've made it so that they are essentially a twin pair of guitars, but with exact opposites of woods.
And is the aim to have them carved in the same way and set up in the same way, so they look visually the same with the opposite woods? Or are there going to be other changes, do you think?
The choice is on these, because I got these woods. Some of these woods were actually bought 20 plus years ago when I made other guitars, and they've sat in my mom and dad's garage.
Amazing.
In a bag, and literally they were like, do you still want these? And I was like, yeah. So I just literally pulled them down. I went, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to swap all the separate parts. So we've got maple and Padauk, ash and Padauk, and swap it over. So color wise they're the opposites, but as far as the guitar goes, they're essentially the same. But when I started doing them, I was like, I don't need any more guitars. So I've got 2 kids. I've got a son and a daughter who are 11 and 6. And I went, what do you think would look cool on this, on these 2 guitars? And I laid them out on the floor, and they went, what's that big silver thing on the bridge? And they saw the Floyd Rose on mine. And they went, yeah, we want those. That big metal thing. So the tremolo is going to be a Floyd Rose on both of them. And I went, well, what kind of pickups do you want in it? And they were like, well, I want one of those there and one of those there. They have no idea what they are. They just go in that shape, that shape, that shape. That's fine.
Amazing. Yeah, I love it.
My daughter wants the Padauk body one because it's dark and it weighs a ton. That's just the way it goes. And I was like, okay, well. And she went, but I want all the shiny bits black. So she wants a black Floyd Rose, black hardware. And I was like, but that's going to, again, chop and change the design.
Yeah,
it's going to be, one's going to have silver hardware, the other one's going to have black hardware. So they're but I you know, they may as well have these, and they'll both have a guitar that they can either use or sell, whatever, you know. It'd just be different, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and I love the fact you're getting them involved with it. It's fantastic.
Yeah. They're cool. They're cool kids. They get involved with stuff.
Yeah, I feel really guilty now you're talking about it. I've got a guitar just next to me here that my daughter drew on, to, like, design on, and it's just been hanging here now for quite a while. I haven't finished wiring up for her. That's terrible. I think basically I got it for her thinking it might be the thing that gets her into playing guitar, but she doesn't seem that interested. And then suddenly her friends are playing guitar, so she's taking it up, but she's playing on my old Spanish guitar.
Fantastic.
We should get together and wire this up together.
That would be a cool.
Soldering. I think she'd love soldering. But anyway, whatever. Let's talk about the Jurgs Cup for a minute. So just decide. I'm pretty certain anyone that's watching this will know what the Jurgs Cup is, but if you don't, go and check out the jurgscup.com. Essentially, it's a community build-along. It happens every year in honour of Jürgen Zoller, who was a member of the community, who was very interactive with people. And the whole point of the Jurgs Cup is, yes, build guitars, but also interact with each other, support people that are building, comment on what they're building. If you don't build guitars, but you're interested in it, you can join in with the chat anytime anyway. And if you do build along this year, there's a competition this year, which we haven't really had before. So it's ending in November, and there'll be some prizes and things like that. And kind of to enter along, what you need to do is just go to the jurgscup.com website, sign up for it, set up a profile, and you're asked to donate a little bit to charity, either by buying some merch or doing a straight donation. I'll put that description at the bottom. But I just showed a bit of a picture of yours. What was your impetus for yours this year? What was?
Well, to be fair, the because it was Heroes, and I must admit that when it comes to players and people I've met, I think over the entire time of me playing since I was started when I was 11 and gigging, Steve Lukather is probably the one standout person. You know, I've seen him play a few times. I even had my brother and I even had the absolute pleasure of meeting him when he was at a local venue doing one of his solo tours. You know, and he was the coolest guy. You know, he just stood there for hours afterwards, after the gig, and just stood talking to everybody.
Oh, brilliant.
And it was just absolutely stunning. I was wearing a Tower of Power t-shirt, which is the first page off of What Is Hip, and he just stood there and he went and he sang the line that was written. And he went, "Yeah, that's right." And I was like, that's just so cool. You know, he was a really, really cool guy. But like I say, the big part about this was trying to kind of it's not a Luke, it isn't, but it's got a lot of things that are from that Music Man kind of slightly smaller body, very, very tactile contours. You know, it's gonna be essentially influenced by him as a player as much as it is him as the guitar itself. Have you ever played any of the Music Man guitars, the Music Man signatures, the EVH or the?
No, I haven't.
Oh, they just feel amazing. They're one of those guitars that you pick up and you can just justify the reason they're so expensive. They are just stunning. So that's my thing with this one is, I think I'm going to end up having to just concentrate on one to get it finished, because I would love to get one finished by November, but I think trying to get the two or the three done is going to be more than I can get done.
Well, like in the 4 years that the Jurgs Cup's been going,
Mhm.
so many people don't finish in time.
Yeah,
But the aim is, if you don't finish in time, just keep going. People are still there to support
Absolutely.
you. But this year, because there is that competition element, if you haven't finished in time, you won't be involved with the opportunity to win some of the prizes. So yeah, if you can get one done, that'd be amazing. And then the others will flow, I'm sure, afterwards.
Yeah. I must admit these are like my just my chill out time. You get home and you get to go out in the garden, make some mess with some sawdust, and you know, once you get an hour in the garden, because I'm working on the two together essentially, because they're as far as the build goes, they're pretty much identical. If I'm doing the neck joint on one, if that's done, then I might as well just set up the next one and just do exactly the same process and try and get them at the same point all the way through. That was the idea. Actually the hardware for both of them has finished turning up today. So the machine heads for the one of them and the bridge for the other. So now I actually have all the hardware. So now I can actually make sure that there's like everything lines up. I can offer them up onto the body and make sure that the lines are straight, because that's the one thing I know Alan with his fantastically inlaid neck on that guitar. The back of that and the back of the guitar itself, those lines look absolutely amazing. And I must admit, that's one of the parts when you're talking about lining those up, you know. And I'm like, they've only got to be what, 0.5 millimeter out, and when you're talking about such a narrow line, it's very obvious. So I'm kind of cutting everything on the waist side and then ever so slightly going up to that line to make sure that when they're actually, you know, in place, they will actually be dead straight, because I've never done that before. I've always used straightforward maple, solid rock maple necks. So that was just another thing to try and have a go at something.
I can't wait to see them finished.
Me too. I'm looking forward to them. I really am. But with all the guitars, that eventually they're going to be instruments. They're going to be playable, and that more than anything is what I want. Or what I want them. I can't wait to hear them played, because that is going to be the reason for doing them in the first place.
Brilliant. And that seems like a brilliant place to sort of segue into. We normally talk for about 45 minutes, but it's very rare that someone's got a guitar set up that they might be able to play.
Well, let's have a.
Do you want to give it a go if you can?
Let's see if we got a signal. So let's see if we got a sound running into. I don't know.
I'm not sure how. I can hear it. I wasn't sure how well the string would work when you tried to cut this down.
Let's see whether we've got a signal. Have you got anything coming through?
We can definitely do that.
Because I've actually got.
I don't know if it's coming through the mic or. Yeah. I don't know if you can hear us now. We can. Love it.
They do work. They are fully functioning and regularly beaten up by Well, I take them to blues jams, and people are welcome to go and try them out.
Oh, excellent.
If they haven't bought guitars with them, you know, we leave a set of amps and pedals on stage. If they want to use their own guitar, that's fine. But if not, they're welcome to use one of these. So they are workhorses, and that's what I think I like about all of these. You know, they all have different kind of jobs as far as the you know, they are tools as much as they are pieces of craft. So yeah, that I hope that, you know, your guitars get used and abused as much as these do, because that's to me part of the joy of actually having the guitar.
So my background is I used to make art for galleries and things.
Right.
And when I moved to making instruments, the thing about that is almost exactly what you're saying. Everything is subjective in art,
Yeah.
but with a guitar, someone can use it to make other music with, to make another art form with. And then it becomes kind of objective. You can tell if it was a success or not. And that's what I like about an instrument, is knowing that it's a tool for someone else. You've made something that someone else can make music with that could trigger a chain of inspiring other people in other ways. And
I hope so. I hope so. I use all of my guitars on the music that I record. And different guitars inspire you in different ways when you pick one up. If it's got a particular type of neck or a particular bridge or a particular sound, sometimes you'll pick a guitar up and it just makes a great sound on one day, and you'll record an idea, and then that's where that track goes. So when I record for the original material I do, it all tends to come from a sound rather than the notes, if you get what I mean. It's I think the first time I ever heard a guitar make a sound that inspired me to want to be a guitarist was the intro for Money for Nothing. And it wasn't the notes, it was the sound, it was the tone, and that to me is the guitar as much as it's the player. It's just that fantastic big raucous sound that he made.
Absolutely. Hey, so look, before we go, E, is there somewhere, obviously I'll put in the description a link to your Instagram and the Facebook. Is there somewhere, if you want to, people can listen to your music?
Yeah, it's on all the streaming platforms, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music. It's all through. The band name is Oscar's Big Friday, because I didn't want it to be me. I didn't want my name on it. I wanted it to be, it's full band recording, so it's not just my name.
Fantastic. I'm just going to look up Oscar's Big Friday before I forget. I've got a brain like a sieve when it comes to nearly like the end of the day on Friday.
I know you. I know who you
Big
feel.
Friday, there it is.
Yeah. And I did, just going off as a tangent with that, I actually had a hernia op recently. So I was signed off work and had to sit at home, not allowed to do an awful lot. So I challenged myself to try and record a song, a track, start to finish. So write it, record it, and release it in 2 weeks. So I did 4 songs, and each one took 2 weeks. Amazing. And I literally, it didn't matter. It wasn't about perfect. It was about good and out and released. So the most recent 4 tracks that are on there were literally just 2 weeks apiece. But that tends to be with everything. Just set yourself a goal. And sometimes we get so obsessed with perfect, we never actually finish. And I
100% agree. That's a great attitude.
Yeah. Get it out, get it working, and you can always tweak it afterwards. You can always tweak everything afterwards.
Until it's out there, you don't know what it means.
Yeah.
What did I see the other day? a film doesn't exist until it's projected, is what I read the other day.
Absolutely. Yeah, all the work you put in, all those hours and people's input and everything doesn't exist until somebody watches it.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's hope someone watches this. So thanks, E. Great to have you on. As I keep saying to anyone that's watching, if you're doing something with the Jurgs Cup, let us know. Let Alan know. Alan's in charge of all our booking. Thank you for doing all that, Alan. And yeah, we want to just get as many people as we can on to talk about things. When November comes and the end of this year's Jurgs Cup, although if you haven't finished, you can keep building. When that comes, I think we're going to be getting people back on to sort of reflect. So hopefully we'll see you again soon then.
That would be wonderful. Thank you so much for having me on.
Absolute pleasure. And thank you everyone that's been in the chat and anyone that's watching in the future. Yeah, if you're watching in the future, just leave a comment and say hi.
Absolutely.
Always good to know that people are watching in the future, because I see we do get views after the live stream, but people don't leave so many comments as they do when we do the live chat. So it's always interesting to know where people are from or how they came across it. Great. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, E. Thanks, Alan.
Many thanks.
Take care. Until next time. Happy strumming, everyone.